Why is there so much unhappiness in the world? Why are there so many unhappy people? Bhagavad-gita teaches dukkhalayam. This world is an unhappy world. So forget silly sentimental movies and fairy tales that end with they all lived happily ever after. The real fact is that the world has always been an unhappy place. Yet we can see all around us that day by day the world is getting more scary, more dystopian, more crazy, less livable. There are even studies. Some social scientists are going around making World Happiness Report and similar studies, and the studies show that young people today, particularly Gen Z, those born between 1997 and 2012, that means those who are now in their teens and early 20s, are more unhappy and confused even than the generations before them. And this is especially true in the developed world, in America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Europe. Young people, the least happy age group. It's an epidemic of unhappiness. Young women especially seem to be more unhappy than ever. High school students report feeling frustrated. You can just look around and see, maybe look in your own heart. Of course, it's going to be different in every case. Different individuals have different mentalities, different backgrounds, certain different circumstances. But in general, we can see that so many young people in particular are just frustrated with everything around them. It seems the whole world is so unjust. There's so much chaos. People's minds are also so chaotic that they just can't handle all the chaos all around them. Look on your device and you see wars and conflict everywhere, apart from big wars and people getting killed here and there. Just the social media is a place where people rubbish each other, and people are just opposed to each other. It seems at every step and in every way. And then people, they just feel they can't do anything. They're powerless. There's this whole system all around us that cheats and manipulates us from the beginning of our lives, and you can't escape it. And we see ahead there's climate disaster and environmental crisis, and you can't do anything about it. I mean, you can try using less oil-based power or something, but the big powers that be, you can't do anything about them. And they talk a little bit about doing this and that, but they're not serious about solving the environmental crisis, climate disaster. And then people, apart from all these big issues of the whole world all around us, we can't do anything to stop the way the world is going, and we don't like the way the world is going, but we can't escape it. And individually we feel isolated and disconnected. We don't belong anywhere. We have our own suffering, and then there's so much suffering all around us, and it just doesn't seem right. And again, what can we do about it? We just don't seem to fit into the world or belong to the world. And even if you work hard at school and you work hard in your job, there's no security. You can get thrown out of you might not even get a job, and you get saddled with so much student debt, and then you try and set up a family, and that doesn't work out, and you try to buy a house, and the house prices are too high, and you get a mortgage, and then you lose your job, and it's just such a mess. Constant stress and anxiety about our present situation, and going into the future doesn't look any better. I'm sorry to sound so negative, but I'm just trying to portray what young people and others also, of course, are up against, and what they're feeling. They may not go through the process of thinking about it like I'm explaining now, but these anxieties are there, and they're real. Why? Why should life be like that? Many young people, they say nothing seems to make sense. What's the meaning of our life? We just have to live and struggle. We don't know who we are or what we are. We don't even know what gender we are or how we're supposed to relate to the other gender or anyone else, and what's the purpose of our life, and confusion, unhappiness, no one to love, no one you can fully trust. For many people, maybe they never thought about it, but in the depth of their heart, they know that if you just vanished from existence, no one would really care that much. You can't really trust anyone, so you don't want to get deeply into a relationship, or you do get deeply into a relationship, and then you get cheated, and then you have sexual desires, but you don't want to get involved in anyone because you're afraid they're going to cheat you emotionally. So then men don't want to get involved with women, and they have these, what do they call that? Incels, that's it, yeah. Involuntary celibates. That women are not interested in them either. And you may say, well, it's not that bad. A lot of people look pretty happy, and a lot of people may be making a show of being happy, maybe even deceiving themselves. What about the soul? Are you happy in the depth of your soul? Mass shootings on school campuses. What about those who are not shooting? What I mean to say is that some people are so screwed up, so messed up, so frustrated that they just go and shoot a bunch of other people, which suggests that those who are not that crazy are also messed up in their mind, but they just don't go to that extent. And again, people, they take shelter. What is there to take shelter of? Your social media. Look in your phone. What's going on? That's scrolling through. One shot, another little in the very, very dull kind of boost in the mind for a couple of seconds. But inside, you're empty. And then people, negative thoughts, depression, self-criticism. And you don't have deep friendships, you just have you and your phone and your mind. It's not a good combination. And what's the future? No sign of any change or good future, just more of the same thing, or maybe worse. The family unit, what is a family? It's largely broken down. It's a horrible civilization. What is it? It's a culture of death. Meat eating means we raise millions of animals just to kill them. Killing, culture of death. Abortion, culture of death. In so many wars, culture of death. Increase the military spending, culture of death. There's plenty of money to make weapons to kill people, but they don't have the money to build homes for the many homeless people, even in proud nations like America and Britain, who pride themselves on being the leaders of the world in civilization, but there are so many homeless people. No money to build homes for them. Plenty of money to build more weapons, to kill more people. So why are people so unhappy? What's at the root of it all? Well, right in the beginning, in your school and even before, we're taught that we're just chemicals. We just evolved from chemicals, which means that, what are we? We're just some blobs, some chemical blobs. There's no real meaning to our life. We're born, we live, we die. It's all meaningless. We're just blobs of chemicals. We live meaninglessly, we die meaninglessly. What does it mean to be a human? You're just a blob of chemicals, that's all. And what happens? There's arisen a culture of self-centeredness, because we know that we're not just blobs of chemicals, but we're taught we're like that, and what we have is our desires, and we see others as just as blobs of chemicals. So we're out for ourselves, and the whole society today is increasingly, you just have to look after yourself. Make your own emotions the center, the main consideration in everything. But the world is such that most of the time our emotions aren't satisfied. We're not fully happy. Even if we try to adjust our environment so that we think our emotions will be satisfied, but it doesn't work, and then we become more and more dissatisfied. The more we try to become satisfied and we're not satisfied, then it actually increases our dissatisfaction. And we can go to self-help seminars and courses. They don't help at all. It's all due to a polluted aim of life. We don't know what the aim of life is because we don't even know what life is. If we say that life is just chemicals, then we don't know that the basic fact that we are not chemicals, we are spiritual living beings. And therefore our aim of life becomes based on a misconception that I am a bunch of chemicals and others are a bunch of chemicals, and if you kill them it doesn't make any difference. And anyway, my bunch of chemicals has so many desires, and we're all just trying to satisfy ourselves. But life is meant for service. Human society, actual civilization, is based on the largely unspoken understanding that everyone has to do their bit. Everyone has to play their role in society. That means everyone has to contribute to society. That means serving others, cooperation, doing things for others which don't immediately benefit you, accepting restrictions, morals. The Vedic Varnashram system is based on the principle that the understanding that happiness comes not from trying to enjoy ourselves individually, but from service. Because ultimately, we are all spiritual beings. And our true spiritual identity is as servants of the Supreme Master, the Supreme Lord, Krishna. And if we recognize that there is God, we serve Him, then we'll be fully satisfied at heart. And while we're living in this world, we are looking up to the spiritual world, looking up to the kingdom of God. But as long as we are in this world, we have to do our duty and serve others. And in that way we can be happy. So this is the basis of the Vedic Varnashram societal setup. But we're so completely cut off from this understanding that we must be unhappy. One reason that we're so unhappy is because we don't have religion. With the proper understanding of religion, the misunderstanding and misuse of religion has turned so many people off religion that people become irreligious. They may say, I'm spiritual, but not religious, which is all very vague. Vedic society is based on spiritual understanding. We are spiritual living beings. We are in our present situation due to previous karma. Human life is meant for God realization. The Vedic understanding teaches us that this present world situation is dominated by tamoguna, which means the mode of darkness in which ignorance predominates, ignorance of our spiritual real situation. The mode of ignorance means people are very dull-headed, especially regarding their spiritual needs, but often even regarding their material needs. And due to the influence of the mode of ignorance, tamoguna, people in the misdirected, totally perverted way of trying to be happy, they inflict unhappiness on themselves. For instance, by taking intoxication. There's another reason you can expect people to be unhappy. If intoxication is so rampant, then how are people going to be happy? First of all, if you feel the need to take intoxication, that means you're unhappy in the first place, and it makes you worse. They say that young people nowadays take less alcohol, but they're taking more other kinds of intoxication. And the unhappiness spreads and spreads and spreads as we do things which make ourselves unhappy and make others unhappy. There's no love, there's no gratefulness. We should be grateful to others, for instance, our parents, but then if the parents never really cared for us or we don't even know who our parents are, then we're going to be frustrated from the beginning, and we make terrible parents ourselves. And another influence of the mode of ignorance is that we just get so hopeless. We become unmotivated to improve our situation. This is all described in the Bhagavad-gita by Lord Krishna. He's the speaker of Bhagavad-gita, and he's the ultimate object of service, being because Krishna is the supreme spiritual person. So in this short talk, I've just given a brief overview of the epidemic of unhappiness which is engulfing the world. This is much worse than the coronavirus epidemic, which some people doubt even was an epidemic. But anyway, this is at the core of our being. The whole world is deeply, deeply unhappy, cut off from our spiritual reality, cut off from God, or even people who believe in God. So many, they have such a fanatic, closed-minded, and very unscientific in the sense that they don't know the spiritual science, very unscientific outlook. So learn Bhagavad-gita to understand the spiritual science of who you are and how to be happy. How to be happy, not the happiness of ice cream, chocolate, sex, drugs, goofing off on your phone. How to be happy at the core of your being. Very simple method to immediately boost your happiness and get us onto the spiritual platform where real happiness is possible. It's very, very simple. It's so simple you can hardly believe it. Just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chant these names. And if we do it with calling out from our heart to Krishna, then we'll feel Krishna's reciprocation. Krishna will lift us up. There's no need to be unhappy. The whole world around us is unhappy. You don't have to be. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy.